Property rights, as we know them, is sophistry. And what I mean by this is, well, that's what I'm going to explain in the video. So, fill solid color. Sorry guys, I'm actually winging this. Alright, so here you got your plot of land that you live on. Alright, and let's say that this is your house. This is your garage. Kind of funny looking house and garage, isn't it? And this is your... Actually, you know what? This is your driveway. And we're not going to go any farther than this because this is not an art video. This is a concepts video. Alright, so let's say our friend here, I don't know, let's draw some guy. Alright, thank you. Alright, this is our guy. Yeah, disproportionate drawing, but he lives, you know, in this house, you know, and every month he pays his rent, and every year, well, his house fees, and every year he pays his property taxes. Alright, so time goes by. Let's add time to this system. Plus 40 years. Now our friend, he's gonna get a beard. And apparently he's also gonna get a smiley face or a face too. He didn't have eyes before. This old man didn't have eyes before, or hair at all. And now he's got, you know, old men got those side, like where they're bald, but they still got hair on the side. And then there's his, you know, forehead wrinkles, the smile. So now, in this scenario, we've got his house is paid off. Ding. Now, but property taxes, guess what happens to those? Just take a wild guess what happens to those. Guess what? They're still here. He has not paid off his property taxes. Can he ever pay off his property taxes? No. And now this creates a very important question. How do we define ownership? Because you see, last time I checked, when you own something, it wasn't just that it's in your hand or that it's you know, or that, you know, it's just near you. That's not what ownership is. Ownership means you hold a piece of property and no one can legally take it away from you for any reason. Unless if you, you know, break a law, hurt somebody. And now I know we're all going to shout out, but property taxes is a law. But wait. You can't, this land cannot be taken away from you. The idea of ownership is supposed to be this cannot be taken away from you for any reason, basically. Because you don't own the house yet when you're paying for it from the bank, right? You don't own the house yet. We agree with that, right? So this paid off thing right here, that's an important element. And you see this concept that we say that we would say this man owns his house when he still has to pay property taxes, I find very interesting because it kind of creates a double standard. Well, you paid it off. Well, I guess to us ownership means you're not paying rent But we just ignore the government as it's like a double standard. So it's ownership if you live on the land and you don't pay rent, but to a company, but it's still ownership if you live on the land and you pay rent to the government. That's a very interesting double standard that this creates. Now, if you didn't understand what I said, allow me to rephrase it. So Joe, our guy, our friend here, we say that he owns this land after his house is paid off because he's not paying rent to any business anymore, right? No bank. He's not paying rent to a bank. He's not paying rent to a business or anything. But he's still paying rent to the government. Do you not see how our concept of our concept of ownership is a double standard? Because he's still paying rent to the government, but we say he owns the house. Say that is an incorrect statement by our current definition of ownership. Unless if you somehow, and this also implies if you accept the current definition of ownership as it stands, as people understand it, because people would say that this guy owns this house even though he's still paying property taxes. If you accept this definition of ownership that we have, that's clearly a double standard, then you're basically saying the equivalent, that the government is all powerful, it's above common law, above rules, above common sense. You're saying it has special exclusions, unfair advantages over others, which, if I remember correctly, I think we agree that we don't like unfair advantages. I mean, isn't that why a lot of people are probably coming to this video don't like marketplaces, because they don't like unfair advantages? Well, here's an unfair advantage the government has. You see, the government doesn't even have to. The government never even. You see, the government never even has to do anything. It doesn't. It never had to once own this land. It never had to, keep the house swept. Keep the dishes washed. Never had to do anything, and yet they still have this hold over this person that they could just take his house away if he lost his job, or like right now, a lot of old people, their retirement is being stolen, or actually it's been stolen a long time ago, but now we're admitting it's being stolen by the government. Do you understand? Hopefully you understand how this is a double standard, how our current concept of ownership is clearly a double standard. And we don't like double standards in society. We don't like unfair advantages in society. So, because of the conclusion that our current definition of ownership is a double standard, giving the government an unfair advantage over companies and over, most importantly, regular day people, and the fact that if you have your house quote unquote paid off, you still have to pay property taxes to keep that house. That this leads me to the final conclusion that our current concept of ownership is sophistry. Let me type it out. Our current definition of property rights is sophistry. Now, you can take what you want from this, but I think this means you either have to, one of two things have to happen. You either have to accept the government as all-powerful and oppressive and has the right to do whatever it wants to people, and we have to redefine the meaning of ownership to mean not ownership, that you don't have control over your belongings, or we have to reform this law and ban property taxes. I mean, which one do you prefer? All-powerful government or ban property taxes? That's the only way our current definition of ownership could. The only way the concept of ownership can stand in a world of property taxes is if we redefine it to mean something totally different. If it's just in your possession, you own it, but it can be taken away at any time. I guess that's what it has to mean now. Or we can ban property taxes and remove this double standard so that our current definition of ownership will stand. And I personally would prefer seeing how people's retirement has been stolen and people are struggling to survive. To help those people out, I'd much prefer to see this. Because if you do the other thing, if you do this, well, taxes are going to increase and these people are going to be forced onto they're either going to be forced to die or live on other government programs. And that is all I have for you. This is Jar and Derek's signing out. Have a good day.